Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This is Carrie Rodriguez and today I have a tutorial for you. This is part 2. In part 1 we made this beautiful little journal here. I have these on my Etsy shop as a printable. So if you purchase it and download it to your computer, you can print it as many times as you want. I also wanted to mention that I printed mine on HP presentation paper matte. So it's a little thicker. It's not regular copy paper. You don't need it, but this is how it looks if you print it out with that paper. So it's a little more bright and detailed. Copy paper and other 65-pound cardstock or 110-pound Georgia Pacific cardstock, they print out differently. So this may vary in the color and the details. So this is what we made. Was a little journal, little DIY project you can give somebody. You can decorate it. Here's a pocket. You can attach some things, some charms or buttons or beads. There's a top pocket here. Put some pockets in it. Do some sewing, add some tabs and some fabric. So it was really easy, really simple. So I'll link this video below so you can go ahead and check that out and see how I made this. Today we're going to be making a similar one, which is using this cover but in a larger version right here. So I have 2 printables available in my shop. This is one of them. It's the same cover, but you get it in 2 different sizes. And the larger size comes with these titles, which you can put right here. And then the smaller ones you can put right here. So you can put, well, let me show you. You can put like faith, hope, journal, you know, up here. And then you can add a smaller one on the bottom there. So up there it can say like journal, and down here it can say create or inspire. So I have these so that these 2 sheets come together. And then in that same purchase, you get this size here. So it's the exact same. These are sized to fit in these book plates. Otherwise, you can just leave it blank. You can back these on cardstock, back them on fabric, and put them right here. And then here is a second printable that I have available, which is this journal, but in these 2 sizes. So there's a large and a small. And these are pretty close in size, as you can tell, looking at them right here. But I didn't intend that to be so. So what I would suggest is if you purchase this, no matter how you print it out, put actual size or adjust to fit. So if it's too big or cut off in your printer viewer, you can make it smaller. So however you print it off, whatever you have marked on your printer, you measure it. And I added 1/4 of an inch to the length and 1/4 of an inch to the height. Well, you know what I mean, the length and the width on each one that I printed out to cut my chipboard. So all of these are 1/4 of an inch bigger than this cover, and I did that because I wanted a border around the picture. So it's not necessary, but this is how I've preferred to do it. You can measure the height and cut your chipboard to exactly this size, maybe a little bit bigger, a 1/16 of an inch. And then the same with here, and you can then assemble it the exact same. Another thing, you don't even have to cut them out. If you print this as I did on this thicker paper, just glue your pieces directly. If they're the same size, just glue them directly here, you know, paying attention to where this fits. So you want to match it up because you can see through it. just glue it on, and then glue the spine and glue the front, and then just wrap it around. You don't even have to cut anything, just glue it and fold it, and you have a cover. So in this video, we're going to be using this larger cover right here. And I just wanted to put those away. Another thing that I have not seen anybody else do, because a lot of people tea dye and coffee dye paper, but I haven't seen anybody, this is me thinking to myself, I've come up with this idea myself. I have not been inspired by anybody else. Well, probably inspired, right? Because it's coffee dye paper and you see that everywhere. But I coffee dyed 65-pound Nina bright white paper. So it's thicker. I'm not going to use this paper to fill the inside of my book. I'm going to use it to wrap the outside cover. So this is how I have chosen to use it. And it looks like it's not quite long enough. So I will show you how I do it when I want to add another piece of paper. And then I like to put my spine in that crease, but it doesn't matter. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is first I'm going to attach these two, and I coffee dye the paper, and then when I lay it down on my baking sheet, because I bake it and then I iron it, this side that's facing up in the oven on the baking sheet turns out like this, and then the side that's facing down turns out like this. Huge difference, but doesn't matter to me because I'm going to use the this side as the outside of my cover. So I'm going to put a bead of glue along this edge here, and I'm just using art glitter glue. You can buy this on Etsy or on Amazon. Oops. Horrible. And I'm just going to press this down and attach it there. So there we go. So now I have one continuous piece of paper, and this is not going to matter because our cover is going to be over it. So you might just see very little bit on the top and bottom. Like I said, it's not going to bother me. So this is what I'm going to use. The only thing is I am going to make sure to put it on the back side instead of the front. So I'm going to keep it in this orientation so that this will be my front cover. So I'm just going to glue these down. The covers that I'm using are from a book that I recently found, and I fell in love with the front image on both of the books. When I brought them home, I realized that they are from the same author, and they're both from the 1800s, around the 1870s. I did not tear any of the pages out. However, they are so old that and fragile that just looking at the pages, flipping through the book, and you know, moving it around, they are just breaking. These pages here are from these books, from one of these books. And you can see how old these are. These are another printable that I have in my shop as well. So you can cut them out and use them, incorporate them in your journals, which we're going to do right now with this journal because I've cut these out. I'm going to use one in here though. I've decided to put one back here, and I'm going to sew it along here and make a pocket. So I am going to do that with that one, but this one we'll use it in this journal. And with these that I've made here, I just glued on some tea-dyed paper in the back and then put it in my sewing machine around the edge. So it has, it's like a little journaling card. You can use the back for a journaling spot. And it just adds some of that vintage style to the journal. So here we have our front cover, spine, and back cover. I am not very good at putting this glue in. I think I had too much coffee today. So here there's a lot of paper on this side, so I'm just going to cut some of this off. So you just want maybe an inch. I would say more than half an inch. So here also. And then I'm going to miter these corners to get rid of some bulk around the corners there. And then I'm just going to fold it over. So there's my crease there. So crease the edges, fold them over. So it'll be easier to place them once you have the glue on. There we go. Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's the coffee. I'm just going to put the glue here on this edge and then glue it down. And this coffee dyed paper has a lot of wrinkles to it. So just make sure that if you do this, that it's fully adhered. Excuse me. So we'll do that to all 4 sides. So just using the bone folder, press it down, crease the edges or the spine there. And just go all the way down. Sometimes, if you haven't seen my channel before, I do craft with my 2-year-old. And so she hears that I'm making a video, she wants to come join me. And so her sisters have to stop her because she won't let me get anything done. Because she wants to be part of the video. And I feel bad because, you know, I've kind of taught her that she can be part of the video. But this is not the kind of video that I want this one to be. You know, with including her, but yeah, she'll try to run in here. So if you hear her, I apologize in advance. Okay, so we have our cover completely done, and this piece, I don't even know where, I think I got it from somebody because I'm telling people save your cardboards for me. Anything that you get, I can use it no matter what. So I don't even know what this was for, but it would work with cereal box. I can't think. So this is the cover, see, with the coffee dye paper, the age that it adds. And now we're just gonna go around the edges, kind of make it a little bit more aged. And I'm using coffee archival ink. So any paper that you have, you can make a book using this same technique. I personally use this, but I make sure that my spine here is not just paper. So if you wanted to make this, to give it to someone that maybe it's gonna, you know, you want it to last for a long time, reinforce this with Tyvek. I also use this Scotch tape. I just put it down here and I make sure it's, you know, pretty adhered. So now what we're going to do, there's our cover. So I love the way that it turned out with the wrapping it in coffee dyed paper. And we're just going to glue the front part on. So that's what it's going to look like. But I do also want to ink around these edges to get rid of that stark white. And it kind of just keeps it as the vintage look that we're going for with the cover. And if you purchase this printable, you can download it and print it as many times as you want. So you can sell these. While I'm doing this here, I'm just going to go ahead and ink the back and spine too. So what I was saying is that you can sell these at craft fairs. This would be a really easy project. Get your teenager involved. If they want to, you know, make a book with you, even a 10-year-old could do something like this. Just make the cover for them. And then they can glue this paper down. They can choose the paper on the inside like we're going to do right now, you know. So I'm going to set these aside. And we're going to glue down the front cover. I think I left it too long the last time. It's about time to get a refill. I purchased a larger bottle so I could just fill up this little 2-ounce. I'm going to lay it out so it's easier to see, but I want to leave a border around it. So there we go. So that's the cover of our journal. And we're going to go ahead and glue on the back cover, but we're not going to do the spine right now. So just glue the back. So just like that. All right, so now we're going to do the inside. And I just want to use this coffee dyed paper. So we'll move this to the side. And I'm going to measure it. I should put my top on. Okay. So we're going to measure the height. So it's 7 1/8. So I'm going to cut it to about 6 7/8. This needs a new blade. So don't expect perfection here. Okay. So there, and keep these because you can use it, you know, at other areas. And then the length is about 10 5/8. So we'll do 10 3/8. And it's kind of, you know, since it's coffee dyed and then baked and ironed and everything, it doesn't lay flat, as you can see. So my edges, I'm sure, are not perfect, but let's go ahead and ink this one. Just pretty much on these 2 edges. It'll kind of get rid of the imperfections from the unsharpened blade. And you can add anything in here that you would like, depending on, I guess, the person you're giving it to. In most cases, you know, you may know them, and so if you know that they like this color or that color or this style, or they really like it grungy, you can, you know, coffee dye some paper and do it as I'm doing it here with wrapping the book and the inside cover. maybe they don't like it, this cover here would look really nice with some type of, you know, green cardstock, 65-pound cardstock that you can use to wrap the book. It does not have to be coffee dyed paper. So I just basically, just to go over what I've done, is when I printed it again, I just wanted to mention that I measured that paper after I cut those printed images out. And that's how I measured for my spine. I mean for my cover. I'll just turn it around and put it like this. So there we go. So to just use the bone folder and make sure everything is adhered down. And if it's not, you can always go back in with the glue with this fine tip. But you always want to make sure that this part around the spine is adhered very well. Because if it's not, I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera. If it's not, it will bubble when you open or close the book, and that's what you don't want, because then there's air in there and it won't ever adhere and you'll always have that bubble. So right here, you always want to make sure that you put enough glue. So this is our book. So here's we're gonna put the spine, but here's the inside. And then the back cover. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make 2 signatures. So we'll use this in a moment. And there's the spine. Okay, so what I have a Tim Holtz paper. And I'll tell you really quick how I got this. So when I measured this, it was 6 3/4. So that's how high I cut. Let me see. Yeah, that's how high I cut my paper. Okay, so I just cut everything that was going to go on the inside of my book the same height as this front cover. Okay, and then as far as it being the width, I just measured this 4 1/4 and I doubled it. So I cut everything at 8 1/2. So I'm just going to fold over these pages to make a little booklet. And then same with this, which I cut, I think, 1/8 of an inch smaller than the rest of the pages, but that's okay. Can't hardly tell. So there's one. And then here is another cover that I've cut up with Tim Holtz paper. And I'm going to kind of mix it up a little bit. I think I'll put, how many pages? I think I have 5. So I'll put 3 in one and 2 in the other. And then to add to this, I have my my book pages, so I'll put 1 in each. So let's go ahead and cut this down. So 6 3/4 by 8 1/2 or 4 1/4. So if we're looking at it this way, so it's 4 1/4, and then 6 3/4. There. So this will fit in here, and it doesn't matter that it chopped off some words because you're not going to be reading the book. If you want to, I suggest reading it before you do this. But it just adds some of that vintage feel, especially because some of these pages came from the cover that you're using. By 6, I'll do this side, 6 3/4. There we go. And you can ink these edges. I'm not going to. Okay, so we'll use this one with this book and then with this cover. Excuse me. I need some water. I need to bring water here. Okay, so when I tea dyed them, or I think they're tea dyed, all of the glue came off. So I want to close it back up. Okay, and then I am going to glue shut this envelope. And then I'm going to fold it in half this way. And just like I did on the other video, but if you haven't seen it, I'll show you on this side. I'll cut up. Not very good at cutting straight lines, but it's okay. And then on this side, I'll cut on the top all the way to the middle part there. So in here on this side, it's open on this side and up here. So I'm just going to get my circle punch, and I'm going to punch a half circle right here. Let me throw out the other ones. Okay, so, and then on this side, we'll do it there. All right, so on this one also, since I have it, I just wanted to cut a circle, about a half circle. That's good. Doesn't have to be perfect. You could measure the center piece. And then I'm going to fold in this doily. And then here I cut this page to be, or this paper bag, excuse me, to be a little less than 8.5. So we'll kind of break up these two images here with this doily. And then we'll add the paper bag. We'll put the paper bag on the other one. On this one, we'll put the envelope, because the paper bag is thicker, and then this one has only two papers, two coffee dye papers. Okay, so there's our two signatures. And remember my error, I cut the Tim Holtz paper to be a little bit, whoops, wrong way, to be a little bit smaller than it was supposed to be. So this is going to be our journal. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut holes in these and punch it. And if you wanted them to be the same, you would just do them at the same time. Let's just go ahead and do that. So then they can be the same. Well, you know what? I'll show you why it doesn't matter. Okay, so we have our holes right there. So let's paper clip these together so they don't move. And I'm going to put this one first. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure where I'm going to put these here. So I just want to check something. Did I paper clip it? Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to put them where I want them. So looking at the top and looking at the bottom. I'm going to get a pencil. I can reach one. So again, looking at the top and bottom, kind of just putting it in the middle. I'm going to put a pencil mark right where that hole is, both of them. Okay, and I'm going to do that with the same thing with this one. So just make sure I want it, I have it where I want it, and I'm just going to put a mark where each of those holes are. So there's one there and there, and they're not even, but I'm going to show you why that doesn't matter. If you want them to be perfect, then punch them at the same time. So my It's about 1/4 of an inch. So there, I'm going to leave that one there. It's about 1/2 inch in. And so this one is going to be, we'll move it over. I'm just going to punch this right here. I'm going to push that hole in. And then you know what I think I'm going to move. So I have it at 3/8. We'll do this one just a little bit over here. 3/8 away from this side. Okay, so 3/8 from this, 3/8 from that. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm just going to put a mark. So it's 3/8 here, and then we'll do the same with this one up here. Just to have them all even so my pages aren't all crooked. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's put that away. I keep it on my floor, so okay. So now we're just going to sew them in. I'm going to use one of these needles. One that has a little bit of a larger eye. I think this one is, so I just keep them in this little drawer. I got it from the Dollar Tree. And is that one okay? I think we'll try it. And I keep it up to where nobody can reach it. It's very high up. And then we're just going to use this twine. It's braiding cord from Walmart, and it's in the art and crafts section, and it's waxed thread, not the elastic. This one's like a cord. It's waxed. It's not stretchy at all. It's very strong. Whenever I use this, I feel the knots stay, and they don't easily come undone. So I'm just going to try to put this in this hole. Which is not very easy, as you can see. I think I'll just get a bigger needle. I don't want it too big because I don't want my holes to be too big. This one works. Okay. So I'm going to do the back one first. Again, just making sure that the orientation is correct. And I'm just going to put it in from the inside and then through the spine of the book. So this is what I mean when your thread is too big and you don't make the hole big enough. And I don't have any pliers. Still, you know, you can still work around it. Just if you're going to use thicker thread, just make your holes a little bit bigger. So then we're just going to go in, and then we're done with this side. So I'm going to cut this off here. And then pull it tight to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Check my cover too, make sure that's in the right orientation. And then I'm going to hold it and tie a knot. Around this time of year, since I wash the dishes like every day, my knuckles get, well, my hands, they get so dry, so red. I suffer every day. I have to wash my hand. Well, every time I wash my hands, I have to put lotion on because they get so dry. And so if I go to the bathroom and wash my hands like, I don't know, 5, 6 times a day, that's how many times I'm putting on lotion, because otherwise it hurts. It's not fun. So I'm just going to put the thread in this needle here so we can do the other one. Okay, so we're going to go the same from the inside. Pull the book away. There. There we go. And then in the other hole, pull it out. And then back in this second. If you fold the papers, if you hold them the way that you had them when you punched the hole, it makes it a lot easier. So then I can take this off, and we're done with that, and cut my thread. So I just want to pull it tight. Again, I just want to make sure everything's in the right orientation. And then tie the knot. So there we go. And we can unclip that. So there's our journal. We put 2 signatures in this one, so it's a little bit bigger. And now we're going to glue our spine, which is why it doesn't matter that these are uneven. If you would like to put your spine on, open this. If you'd like to put your spine on first and then sew your signatures in to where you can see the thread, then just make sure that they are in the same spot. Just double them up and put your hole in at the same time, and then they'll be in the exact same spot. So I'll put the cover on, or the needle, and then just make sure that's the correct orientation also, and just cover them so you can't even see where I stitched in those signatures, and it kind of keeps it sturdy. You know, the wires are not going to come off. They're glued in there, and it doesn't add really anything to the outside of the cover. I think I am just going to put more glue. I didn't put very much glue on this side right here, which is why this glue bottle is so handy. Just going to hold it for a moment. So now what I have are these plates. You can put right here if you want to. You can use what I've provided. I've included some blank ones, so you can stamp an image or a word there if you would like instead. And so I think I'm going to use the journal. So I'm just going to cut that out. I do not cut straight, so it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. So I'm going to cut journal, the big one, and then the small one I'm just going to cut out inspire. I hope I've inspired you to make a book. And these background titles are a color from the book. I've taken one of the colors and from one of these colors and used it to fill in this word plate. So I'm just inking the edges just to give it a vintage look, the same as the journal, and take away the stark white edges. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue this directly on. You can back it with fabric or with cardstock and glue it on instead, and then you can use the other words that you didn't use in your journal or in other journals. See, that fits perfectly. And then we'll do the small one. And then one other thing that I wanted to do was to just put this pocket in on one of the pages. And it's too small there, but let's put it on this. That looks nice. So I'm just gonna put, first I do want to ink it a little bit, kind of give it an aged look. It's been there the entire time. You can also ink all of the edges of your paper. You can go around and do that to all of the pages. So I'm just gonna put glue on 3 sides. And I'm going to glue that down. Excuse me. Okay, and then with this one, I think we'll do the same, but we'll put it on this heavy cardstock. So I'm just going to put on these 3 sides glue. And then we're going to glue this one down right here. So there you go. So we have completed an entire journal in 43 minutes from start to finish. We covered it, and then we chose our papers. We sewed them in. So there's a bag right on the front, or decorate it. There's that pocket there. And this is a scrap that I cut off from my from when I did my cover, and I can just use it as a tag in that pocket right there. So I just fold it over and I cut it off, and just use that in there. So there's a tag, and then I have another one that we can use in another place. So there's tea-dyed paper, and then right here you can tie some charms, and then some more tea-dyed paper, and then that old vintage book page, and then there's this side you could put a tag in. You could even glue the tag right here, and it's a tuck spot. So use what you have. And then there's this pocket right here. And then some more tea-dyed. So lots of space for journaling. I only used 5 pages of this 6 3/4 tea-dyed paper. And then right here we'll put the tag. This tag would fit nicely. There we go. See, it fits in there. Add some trim, something to it, stamp on it. And then there's that pocket on this side with the image that I also have this printable with this in my shop as well. So that's it. That's the entire journal that we've made. So I really hope that you like this video. You can go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because I will be making more videos. Check out my Etsy shop where these printables are listed. You get 3 pieces of paper, and I have 2 of them available. One with this cover and then one with this cover. And with each purchase of this cover or this cover, you get both sizes. So you get a small one and a large one of the same cover. And then on the other, you get a small and a large one of the same cover. And then aside from that, I also have the printables of this vintage book paper that came from one of these books. So I thank you very much for watching. Also head over to my Facebook page, Carrie's Workshop. You can like my page and follow me there. I do post pictures of things that I'm working on and things that I have available, or the new YouTube videos that I'm making. So I thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.